After my husband went on a business trip, the task of walking the dog fell to me. As soon as I took the dog into the underground garage, it jumped onto a car. I had to pull it down with all my strength, but luckily the female owner wasn't angry. I shared this funny incident online, never expecting one reply to sting my heart. Could it be that they know each other? Your husband might have taken the dog in her car before, and you're the only one left in the dark. I suddenly remembered that a month ago when I was on a business trip, during a video call with my husband, our dog appeared wearing long false eyelashes. I never used false eyelashes, and my husband certainly wouldn't either. My husband explained that it was just a prank by his colleague. Now, it seems things might not be that simple. 1. My husband Ethan was away on a business trip over the weekend. Before leaving, he repeatedly reminded me to walk his precious dog, Bruce. Bruce is a gentle giant Samoyed, already waiting obediently by the door. There was no way I could slack off now. I took Bruce down to the underground garage by elevator, which led directly to a small square. Unexpectedly, the moment we stepped out of the elevator, Bruce went wild, breaking free from my grip and dashing toward a car parked nearby, leash trailing behind him. By the time I caught up, Bruce had already jumped onto the car, wagging his tail and fawning over the female driver, begging for cuddles. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I kept apologizing in panic, but fortunately the female driver didn't seem afraid of dogs. It would have been worse if there were children who might get scared. I pulled hard on the leash, but Bruce simply refused to follow me. Given his size and weight, I was struggling to handle him alone. Looking at the car owner, she was just in her early 20s with delicate makeup. Fortunately, she wasn't angry and even affectionately patted Bruce's head. Bruce seemed quite pleased, wagging his tail so hard it might have fallen off. You should know that Bruce, true to his name, isn't exactly good-tempered. That's why my husband always walks him, worried that I, being petite, wouldn't be able to handle any unexpected situations. I was so anxious I broke into a sweat, and only then did the woman help me push Bruce out of the car. Watching the female car owner drive away, Bruce was still whimpering. I gave him 2 hard slaps on the face, annoyed that he had embarrassed me. That night, during my video call with Ethan, I complained to him about it. He visibly froze for a moment. Don't walk him tomorrow. What's wrong? I hadn't expected him to react so strongly. You're small, and if you can't control Bruce properly, it wouldn't be good if he hurt someone. I thought he made a good point, so I nodded. I still have work to do. You should get some sleep early. He hung up in a hurry after saying that. The night was long and boring, so I posted about today's incident. Coincidentally, I had recorded a video while walking Bruce, originally meant to show my husband, but now it became a funny clip. I never expected this video to gain so many likes so quickly after being uploaded, with comments flooding in non-stop. At first, I was grinning while interacting with netizens, but soon my smile faded. One particularly bizarre comment stood out. Have you ever considered? She knows, he knows, it knows, only you don't. Not understanding, I replied with a question mark beneath it. Someone quickly answered for him. It means your dog and this woman have known each other for a long time. Your husband took the dog in that car before, keeping only you in the dark. Sometimes, the truth is so flimsy it can't withstand scrutiny. Certain suspicions that had been lurking beneath the surface gradually came to light. I stared blankly at the scrolling screen. Because of the anonymity of the internet, everyone spoke their minds freely, completely uninhibited. I was already at my breaking point. 2. I started frantically searching through the house. I refused to believe that if he was cheating, there wouldn't be even the slightest trace left behind. An hour later, I collapsed onto the floor, panting and exhausted. There was no evidence at all, yet it felt like a nail had been driven straight into my heart. In that short time, the replies had multiplied by another 100. It was probably past midnight, and the number of active discussants had noticeably dwindled. A few stubborn trolls had formed several battle groups, hurling insults at each other. They were just venting online, but this was my actual life. Just then, one reply caught my attention. Poor protagonist, her only ally is that dog. A brainstorm was rapidly forming in my mind. Why should I just sit and wait? I could take the initiative. The first thing I did was hide the post. Before things could escalate, I couldn't let the situation get out of hand. The next day, I timed it perfectly and walked out of the basement elevator with Bruce, just as the female car owner approached while talking on her phone. Bruce rushed forward excitedly again. Holding a cup of coffee in one hand and the leash in the other, I was pulled along by Bruce and ended up colliding with the young woman. The coffee cup shattered between us, staining her white dress with a large splatter and dirtying my shoes. Bruce, what are you doing? Furious, I gave Bruce 2 slaps. Dogs don't have bad intentions. It wasn't deliberate. The female car owner clearly didn't blame Bruce, but she blamed me instead. I kept apologizing, but she went upstairs without saying a word. Half an hour later, I rang her doorbell with freshly baked cupcakes in hand. After a while, she finally opened the door, visibly guarded. Do you need something? I'm sorry about staining your clothes earlier. I just baked some cupcakes. Would you like to try one? I put on a sweet act, while Bruce behind me grew impatient, pushing eagerly toward the door. The young woman could barely hold him back. How did you know I live here? She asked suspiciously. We're in the same homeowners group chat. You used your real photo as the profile picture and included your apartment number in the name, so I found you right away. I tilted my head and smiled guilelessly. What a clever little thing. Come on in. The young woman seemed to make up her mind, taking a step back to let me inside. The moment I stepped through the door, I knew my suspicions were right. Ethan was cheating. My nose is particularly sharp. Ethan always says I have a dog sense of smell. There was a distinct scent on him, the same one that had drawn me to him when we first met. It was a faint trace of pine. Some say it's pheromones, that we were a match made in heaven. Ironically, the scent seemed even stronger at the young woman's place, so strong that even the creamy aroma of the cake couldn't mask it. My name is Jessica. The young woman extended her hand toward me, signaling it was time for formal introductions. Diana. I also reached out my hand, accepting what felt like a formal challenge. Jessica and I quickly grew familiar with each other. Both seasoned actresses, we girls could establish this kind of shallow, performative friendship, all surface and no depth, in just 10 minutes. After leaving her house, I had a general understanding of the situation. She had moved in even earlier than us and had previously owned a Samoyed, which died in a car accident. It seems she and Ethan got to know each other while walking their dogs, walking the dogs all the way to bed. These two are truly shameless. 3. When I got home, I excitedly posted on my social media, saying how happy I was to find someone who resonated with my soul. Ethan called me soon after, asking what had happened. I recounted my strange encounter with Jessica in an exaggerated tone. You're too naive. You should be more cautious with strangers. Stop hanging out with these weird friends so much. Ethan wasn't pleased about our friendship, so I pretended to be angry, pouting as I hung up the phone. Apparently, he wasn't as bold as Jessica and didn't want things to get too wild, so he tried to keep us apart. But that wasn't up to him anymore. Time to have some real fun. I put on my headphones, and the eerie melody of Dance of All Things filled my ears. Blinded by tacky cliches, I lost my way. A mistake so absurd, it fills me with hate. It's confirmed now. Ethan is cheating with Jessica. I need to gather evidence, get a divorce, and send both dogs where they belong. I'll call my mom first when I get to the office. The property matters here are almost settled. We can list it next week. My mother immediately responded when she heard my voice. We discussed her selling one of our properties to help Ethan and me upgrade to a larger flat. Mom, hold off for now. I've changed my mind. Let's not buy the place yet. As the only child in the family, my mother always indulged me and went along with my decisions without pressing for details. I also applied for another business trip training opportunity at work, timed perfectly so I'd leave the day Ethan returned. Now I'm going to maximize the utility of my ally. When Ethan came through the door, I was already waiting by the entrance with my suitcase in tow. In such a hurry, he tried to hug me, but I dodged lightly with the excuse that I'd already done my makeup. I need to catch my train. Bruce hasn't been walked yet. I paused to add one more instruction. I bought Bruce a new collar. Remember to put it on when you take him out. No problem. Ethan loved Bruce and was delighted with the new collar. After a long and tiring journey, I arrived at my destination as darkness fell. Fresh out of the shower, I eagerly grabbed my phone and logged into the app. Just as I suspected, Bruce's collar camera showed he was already at Jessica's place. Their voices also carried over. Your wife is here. Jessica handed the phone to Ethan. You actually added her as a friend? Don't push it too far. She's quite sharp. If she finds out, won't all our efforts be wasted? That's what makes it exciting. I'm even going to send her a photo of my boyfriend's back. Let's see if she recognizes him. Jessica giggled and nestled into Ethan's lap, the two of them cuddling closely. Patience is key. Once I've sweet-talked her into handing over all her premarital assets and laundered them clean, then it'll be the perfect time to divorce, won't it? Ethan's scheming ran deep. I couldn't help but sneer coldly. But that'll take forever, Jessica sighed, reaching back to pat Bruce's head. When will our little family of 3 finally be together? They're in such a hurry to reunite. I might as well give them what they want. For what I never expected was that Bruce, whom I thought was my ally, would be the first to betray me. The moment I got home, it bit me. I had merely picked up Bruce's bowl to give it some newly bought canned food when it suddenly snapped at me. I instinctively pulled back, but a bloody scratch still appeared across my thumb. Ethan was very unhappy, but still accompanied me to get the rabies vaccine. You're always unfriendly to Bruce. Who else would it bite but you? I remained silent. Love and indifference are so clearly distinguishable. In his eyes, I'm not even as important as a dog. What angered him wasn't that Bruce bit me, but that after Bruce bit me, he was afraid I'd blame Bruce and kept making excuses for him. We stepped out of the elevator to find Jessica standing at my door with a smile. Just checking on the wounded, she teased with a playful grin, handing me a small cake. How did you know? I asked, feigning surprise. Saw your social media post. Got worried, so I came to check on you. I deliberately hesitated to see Ethan's reaction. He rushed ahead to open the door and walked in without even looking at us. Bruce waited at the doorway and immediately pounced at the sound. I recoiled slightly out of lingering fear, stumbling backward right into Jessica. She steadied me, stepped protectively in front, and gave Bruce a light tap on the head saying, Naughty Bruce, your mommy doesn't love you anymore. Bruce panted and jumped on her, but she didn't seem annoyed, following me inside. Your house has such stylish decor, she remarked casually, looking around freely. Ethan disappeared into the study without coming out. I played dumb, refusing to introduce them. Your boyfriend's quite the aloof one, Jessica said, tilting her chin toward the study. She was really committing to the act. If the spot where I'd just gotten my shot wasn't throbbing so painfully, I'd have properly engaged in this little performance with her. Your boyfriend's back looks so much like my boyfriend's in this photo. Jessica suddenly leaned closer to my photo wall and pointed at a picture. In the photo, Ethan was spreading his arms to embrace the sun. As she spoke, she picked up her phone and quickly flipped to a page to show me. The picture was in her social media feed, just one photo showing a man's back, unmistakably Ethan. Looks just like him, I said sincerely. Right? When he gets back from abroad, let's all meet up and see if they're long-lost brothers. Sounds good. Wouldn't that be something, if it's true? I chimed in with a chuckle. Ethan over there had been listening to our conversation with his ears perked up, probably unable to hold back any longer, and called out to me. Diana, the doctor said you need to rest well after getting the shot. I'll take my leave now. Your boyfriend is worried you'll get tired. How sweet of him, hee hee. Jessica skipped toward the door, with Bruce wagging his tail and following close behind. 5. I walked into the study where Ethan was gaming, but a glance at his losing streak told me this wasn't like him at all. That friend of yours has zero sense of boundaries. You should keep your distance from now on. He spoke without turning his head, only to feed the enemy team another kill moments later. Does her presence here bother you? I asked, already knowing the answer. I'm already annoyed enough they are hurt, and now she comes chattering away. Ethan lost another round and felt like throwing his keyboard. She said her boyfriend is coming back this weekend and suggested we all hang out together. What? Ethan got agitated, glanced back at me, then suppressed his emotions and said, they're all strangers. What's the point of hanging out? I'm not going. What are you so worked up about? If you don't want to go, just say so. Why yell at me? I blinked, tears welling up in my eyes. Why are you crying? All right, go to bed. The doctor said you need more rest. Ethan, I need to tell you something. My tone suddenly turned serious. What's wrong? He startled, visibly flustered. They say a dog that bites shouldn't be kept. Bruce bit me once. I'm afraid he might do it again. I've raised Bruce since he was a puppy. He won't do it again. You must have treated him poorly. Show him more love, and he won't bite you. Ethan refused to listen further, pushing me out of the study. He grabbed a jacket and left with Bruce. Bruce still needs his walk. Don't wait up. Go to bed first. I knew there was going to be some drama again. Silently logging into the app, Ethan soon saw Jessica. Will you stop messing around already? This is dangerous. Do you really think she's a fool? She's actually very smart. Who would have thought that despite Ethan calling me an idiot all the time, he actually had a pretty clear understanding of me. Who told her to take my place? I'm going to keep playing. Tomorrow I'll even take a bold photo with you. Let's see just how smart she really is. Ethan was about to speak when Jessica stepped forward and silenced him with a kiss. The two became entangled in each other, while Bruce circled them several times, eventually looping them together with his leash. What a loving family of 3. 6. The next day happened to be a weekend. I packed up the camping gear and dragged a reluctant Ethan along. Just as we reached the underground garage, we saw Jessica waiting by the car. Ethan played with his phone the whole way, while Jessica took charge, chatting and laughing with me. We parked the car by the reservoir, where there was a small scenic area, a popular spot for camping. I found a spot, spread out the blanket, and had just set out the fruit when Bruce stretched his snout over, eager for a bite. I nudged him away, and he bared his teeth again. I screamed and stepped back. Ethan, look at your dog. It's trying to bite me again. I couldn't take it anymore and shouted. It didn't actually bite you. Stop making such a fuss. Ethan reluctantly put down his phone and came over to pull Bruce into the car. You can't keep this dog anymore. If you insist on keeping it, then move out with it. I hardened my expression and issued the ultimatum. Hey now, are you really choosing a dog over your husband? Jessica hurriedly tried to mediate. Diana, I told you it didn't mean to. Can't you just let it go? It's just an animal. Ethan saw I was serious and came over to coax me. I don't care if I end up giving my life to it someday. You know rabies has no cure. I repeated my old trick, looking up at him with tearful eyes. During all our years together, Ethan had always been weakest against this move. But Bruce has been with me for so many years, and he's so temperamental. How could I possibly trust him with someone else? Ethan refused to compromise, standing his ground. Then choose, me or the dog. I stared at him, waiting for his answer. He hesitated. He actually hesitated. That hesitation betrayed both me and Bruce. Stop arguing. Just give Bruce to me. You can visit him whenever you miss him. My Garfield is gone, and I miss having a dog around. Bruce can keep me company. Jessica resolved the conflict with just a few words. Ethan, seeing that the perfect solution had been reached, was instantly in high spirits. He even had the patience to coax me, pressing close behind me and whispering sweet nothings. I played along, giggling as I fed him grapes. I stole a glance at Jessica. Her gaze was sharp enough to slice me into sashimi. Now Ethan had a legitimate reason to come and go from Jessica's house as he pleased. But he remained wary, casually asking from time to time why my mother hadn't sold the house yet. If we move away, won't you miss seeing your precious baby? I replied with a smile. What do you mean? You told me to go see him, and now you're jealous? Ethan's expression changed instantly, his sensitivity showing. Me, jealous of a dog, as if that's possible. I blinked my big eyes innocently at him. You mean Bruce? Uffed, that's no treasure. Don't make me laugh. He breathed a sigh of relief. Then what counts as treasure? A beautiful woman? Stop joking around. Jessica has a boyfriend. Don't get any wild ideas. He finally let her name slip. She wouldn't give you a second glance anyway. Why should I worry? I set the noodles in front of Ethan and started counting off on my fingers. Look, Jessica's standards are clear. Her spending habits are extravagant, and only someone with money can afford her. If you're just an ordinary office worker with no car or house, would she even glance your way? Ethan threw his chopsticks on the table and stormed out. The truth stung him. He left me, without a house or car. Would Jessica ever stay devoted to him? He already knew the answer, and that's why it hurts so much. I think it's about time. Ethan said he was going on a business trip. No sooner had I seen him off than I went to find Jessica. She was slow to answer the door, wrapped in a towel, blocking the entrance and refusing to let me in. Bruce stood guard behind her, ready to attack me at any moment. My annoying husband is away on business, so I came to fool around with you. Hee. I mimicked her tone and pulled out a large paper bag from behind me, filled with dozens of skewers of barbecue. Bruce's eyes instantly lit up with clarity. Come in. Jessica jerked her head to signal me inside, only flashing a mischievous smile after I set the paper bag down. My boyfriend's back. She motioned for me to look toward the bathroom, where the sound of running water could be heard. Then I must have interrupted your good time? I teased with a mischievous smile. Too late now anyway. Jessica picked up a skewer of meat, but Bruce eagerly pawed at her after just 2 bites, forcing her to feed him. No wonder Bruce adores you. If he begged me like that, I wouldn't give him any. Exactly. Dogs are like men, they need coaxing and training. You're no good at it. Learn from me. Jessica spoke the truth. Her contempt for me was no longer concealed. Yeah, my standards are too low. Luckily that fool loves me. Otherwise I wouldn't have been able to win him over. I deliberately forced a bitter laugh as Jessica's eyes nearly rolled to the back of her head. I just wanted to make her uncomfortable. Some words had to be said. Keeping them bottled up would have killed me. Can you walk Bruce for me? We're planning to battle it out till dawn today. Jessica wanted to shoo me away. She regretted letting me in. I used to be someone with a good sense of boundaries in her eyes, but today I suddenly broke that rule, shamelessly refusing to leave. No way. It already bit me. Why should I make it comfortable? Isn't your handsome guy coming out yet? He's going to scrub his skin raw at this rate. I was still grinning, but Jessica had already lost her smile. Let me go check. He probably didn't bring clothes in. How's he supposed to come out? I watched as she hid the phone in her clothes and took it inside. 2 minutes later, I received a message from Ethan. I have an important document at home. A colleague will come to pick it up later. Please get it for them. It's in the top drawer of the bookcase. Not a bad excuse. Normally, I would have rushed home immediately, but not this time. I wasn't leaving. What's wrong? Something important? Jessica asked, reading my expression. Nothing's more important than keeping you company for skewers, I said, handing her a skewer and cracking open an iced beer. Soon Ethan messaged again, urging me to hurry home and let his colleague in. Having downed 2 beers already, I was pleasantly buzzed. I grabbed my phone and suddenly tapped the voice call request. The clinking and clattering sounds coming from the bathroom mixed with the running water, yet remained startlingly clear. Everyone was taken aback. Jessica, in her panic, spilled beer on the sofa, and Bruce leapt up, barking furiously. Though Ethan ended the call in an instant, he had already given himself away. There wasn't a trace of amusement in Jessica's eyes. What I saw was murderous intent. I wobbled to my feet, pretending not to notice a thing, and grinned foolishly at her. This pig's got some nerve. Hanging up on me? Just wait till I deal with him later. I'm off. Say hi to your handsome man for me. Jessica saw me to the door and slammed it shut. Ethan actually sent someone to collect his things. I handed over the document, then collapsed onto the sofa and logged into the software. The 2 of them were already arguing over there. Ethan said irritably, I told you not to take it this far. We almost got caught. You need to tone it down from now on. Jessica wasn't so easily fooled. She said coldly, does she know something? No way. Given her personality, she would have said something immediately if she knew. Ethan was growing uneasy too, though he still wanted to deceive himself. What are you afraid of? What could she possibly do even if she knew? What could she do? Don't you realize what would happen? If we divorce now, I won't get any advantage in the asset division. Wouldn't all my scheming be for nothing? Ethan growled. Then we won't divorce. Jessica looked utterly confident. Wishful thinking. If she finds out, divorce will be inevitable. Ethan snapped as he slumped onto the sofa, stroking Bruce's head with a furrowed brow. No divorce. Just make her disappear from this world, and no one will split the assets, Jessica said casually. Going through all this trouble for such a small sum hardly seems worth it. I never expected Ethan to be so greedy. She only has a widowed mother, right? Easy solution. When the old woman loses her only child, she'll be devastated. You swoop in, take her in, and eventually her money becomes yours. As for how long she lives, well, that's up to us, isn't it? Listening to Jessica's words sent chills down my spine. If I hadn't discovered this early, my fate would have been tragic. Either they'd drain me completely, or I'd be forced into a humiliating divorce where they'd take my premarital assets. Those 2 shameless creatures were already entangled together. I couldn't bear to watch any longer. I need to prepare in advance to protect myself. Jessica is ruthless. I must guard against her. 9. Ethan returned from his business trip, exhausted, looking completely drained. I was on the phone with Jessica when he walked in. No problem. I'll go pick up Bruce right away. I put down my phone and explained to Ethan. Her boyfriend just got back from abroad. He's allergic to dog fur, so she asked us to take care of Bruce for a few days. Fine by me, as long as you're okay with it. Ethan replied non-committally. I'll go pick up Bruce then. With that, I walked to the doorway to put on my shoes. Just then my phone rang. It was my mom calling. I answered the call and stepped outside. The house sold? That's wonderful. Ethan's back too, so we can go house hunting later. Love you. I puckered my lips and blew a kiss into the phone. To my surprise, Ethan came charging out of the house and nearly knocked me over. Wait, don't go pick up Bruce. I noticed his strange expression and looked at him in confusion. I'll go get him. I'm afraid Bruce might bite you again, he quickly explained. All right, I said as I went back inside. Ethan had already gone out. I was right, they were about to make their move. Good thing I stopped them in time. Jessica opened the door and froze when she saw Ethan. Why you? Hold off on the plan. Her mom just said she sold the house and is buying us a luxury apartment. Ethan's eyes sparkled with excitement. That's good news. then let her live for a few more days. Jessica glanced at Bruce and asked, "Are we still taking him back? I'm afraid he might attack if he sees Diana." It's easy to imagine that if I had been the one to pick up Bruce just now, I might have been bitten halfway, and what would have happened next is hard to say. A chill ran down my spine at the thought. "Let's not answer for now. I'll buy the house first, and then we'll talk." "Don't go soft on me now," Jessica said, locking eyes with Ethan. He nodded in response. "Don't worry, it's you I love." Ethan came back empty-handed. His explanation to me was, she had a fight with her boyfriend, and he moved out. "For Bruce?" I asked nosily, pressing further. "I didn't ask for details, but I just heard your mom say on the phone that the house was sold." "You've got sharp ears. The biggest one sold. Now we can pick out a house." Ethan rushed over, picked me up, and spun me around twice. I felt disgusted but couldn't show it, so I forced out a few screams to play along before claiming I needed to speak with my mother and fled to the bedroom. For the next few days, Ethan accompanied me in carefully selecting a house, and we hadn't seen Jessica for several days. Jessica seemed a bit unsettled. One evening when Ethan and I were browsing property listings, she video called us. The woman in the frame looked like she'd been drinking, her hair disheveled, her gaze hazy, utterly bewitching. I saw Ethan's Adam's apple bob up and down before he got up and headed to the bathroom. "Sweetie, I miss you. What are you busy with? Why haven't you come to see me?" These words were spoken by Jessica to me, but they were clearly meant for someone else. Ethan's footsteps slowed. "We're buying a house. We're moving away," I said deliberately for her to hear. "Don't forget about me. I'll miss you." "Of course. I never forget you no matter where I go." She couldn't hold back any longer. We bought our house quickly, pouring all of Ethan's and my savings into it, with my mom contributing half the amount. We ended up with a spacious 400 square meter flat. Ethan and I went to inspect the house together, and I could see greed in his eyes. He probably couldn't wait a single day longer. Was I any different? "Let's move in. I want to invite Jessica over for a housewarming dinner. You know, to bring in good fortune and prosperity." I pouted playfully at him, as if he might refuse. He hesitated for a moment before asking, "Should we invite Bruce too?" "Okay." 10. I had prepared hot pot. Although the air conditioning was on full blast in the room, preparing the broth still made me a bit sweaty. I was only wearing one of Ethan's shirts. The shirt was so long it looked like a dress on me. Ethan saw me and muttered, "Why aren't you wearing your own clothes?" Hee hee. I didn't want to get mine smelly. He didn't speak and went to open the door. Jessica entered with Bruce in tow. The moment Bruce stepped inside, his leash was removed. He quickly scurried around the room and, upon reaching the kitchen, sniffed me vigorously. I placed a plate of meat on the floor, which he devoured eagerly, as if he hadn't eaten for days. "What is Bruce eating?" Jessica asked anxiously as I emerged from the kitchen. "Feed it first, so it won't bother us later. It has diarrhea. Don't feed it yet." Jessica looked nervous, glancing at Ethan. Ethan hurried into the kitchen. As he bent down to take away the meat plate, Bruce suddenly lunged and bit him right in the crotch. Ethan let out a scream, and Jessica and I both sprang up from the couch. Bruce went berserk, attacking Ethan frantically, biting viciously at his face and body. Overwhelmed by the pain, Ethan collapsed to the ground, defenseless, and within moments was torn to shreds by Bruce. All this happened in just 2 or 3 minutes. Jessica and I stood frozen in shock, unable to move. Bruce seemed tired, his attacks slowing somewhat. "Jessica." Ethan called out weakly to Jessica, pleading for help. Jessica walked toward the kitchen as if sleepwalking, when Bruce suddenly turned his head, staring at her with glowing blood-red eyes, his muzzle stained with blood. In the blink of an eye, Jessica dashed forward and slammed the kitchen door shut. Bruce's dog got its mouth caught in the door before pulling back. Jessica and I exchanged a panicked glance before I frantically rushed to the door screaming for help. Screaming for help in a high-rise building is useless, especially when you live on the top floor. After shouting for several minutes and taking the elevator downstairs, I finally remembered to call the police. By the time the ambulance arrived, Ethan had been mauled beyond recognition by Bruce, with several gaping wounds bleeding profusely. He could no longer make a sound, yet his gaze remained fixed on Jessica, as if demanding an answer. Jessica and I supported each other as we boarded the ambulance. I knew nothing beyond crying and shaking my head. Jessica wasn't faring much better than me. 11. Ethan had a rare blood type with no reserves available, so the excessive blood loss quickly led to organ failure. I couldn't bear to see the determination in his gaze, but I had to let the nurse remove the tubes. I couldn't let his suffering continue. As his hand fell, there was an endless sense of unwillingness. My home had already been cleaned, and the housekeeper sprayed plenty of air freshener, but when I stepped inside, I still caught a faint trace of blood in the air. The incident of Ethan being attacked by the dog has caused quite a stir. Some neighbors testified that Bruce had bitten me before, and I even argued with Ethan about it, wanting to give Bruce away. No one knows why Bruce attacked Ethan this time, but this is the inevitable consequence of not dealing with a dog that has bitten someone before. I didn't ask my mom to stay with me. That night, I poured myself 2 glasses of wine and sat on the sofa in a daze. The doorbell rang, and Jessica walked in. I always thought Bruce was going to attack me. I handed her the other wine glass. That's what Ethan thought, but I saw it differently. Men are too self-important. Jessica smiled, shook her glass, and downed it in one gulp. "So, what do you think?" "I'm finding this more and more interesting. You're clever, installing surveillance on Bruce. The moment you did that, I stopped seeing you as competition. I find you far more interesting than him," Jessica said as she sat down beside me. I felt somewhat uncomfortable and leaned back to create some distance between us. His plan was to have me train Bruce to attack you. That night, he wanted to see you dead, but he never dreamed Bruce would turn on him instead. You reacted quickly, feeding Bruce meat the moment he approached. Otherwise, wearing that shirt, you could have easily been implicated. But you two had a mutual benefit arrangement. I had nothing to offer you. Why help me instead of him? We did have something, you just didn't know about it. Jessica leaned in closer. I had no retreat left, could only press the back of my hand firmly against the sofa and sit there rigidly. Go on, explain, she said. Look, Bruce's collar is with me. If I produce its camera footage, wouldn't that make you the suspect? Once suspicion falls on someone, people dig deeper. You'll always leave some trace. You need to be reasonable. You're the one who made Bruce bite people, not me. I grew frantic. I know you're anxious, but calm down first. Let me analyze this. If you learned about our plan through the camera and didn't stop it, but instead used it against us, then who do you think Officer Hat will believe? Go ahead and call the police. Let the officers decide. I didn't do anything. I just suspected my husband was cheating, so I investigated. It's you people who developed murderous intentions after I stirred the grass and startled the snake, wanting to turn me into the disappeared woman. But heaven favors me. The dog that should have attacked me went after Ethan instead. Does this story make sense? I smiled at her. It makes sense, and it's quite interesting, Jessica said seriously. But you forgot the most important point. What? The meat Bruce ate was problematic. Bruce hasn't been disposed of yet. He can still be dissected and tested, as long as someone raises an objection. Jessica's face still wore a smile, but all traces of amusement had vanished from her eyes. This was unexpected. I thought Bruce was going to attack me, so I wore Ethan's shirt. That shirt was what he wore after playing ball. Unwashed, still carrying his scent. I wanted to use it to protect myself, but I nearly made things worse. If I hadn't given Bruce the meat in time, I might not have made it out alive. I'd laced the meat with amphetamines. Enough to excite Bruce. It was a double insurance. I'd scented Ethan's clothes with my own smell, but I worried it wasn't strong enough. From the caller's monitoring, I already knew that Bruce had been starved for 2 days for today's operation. Someone took his food bowl, and with the effect of the drugs, he was bound to become frenzied. I originally thought this plan was flawless, but I never expected Jessica to be the mantis stalking the cicada. She actually found out. I sat there in a daze, only raising my teary eyes after what felt like an eternity. What do you want me to do? That's more like it. With everything that's just happened at your place, as your best friend, shouldn't I stay with you for a while? She stood up with a smile and walked around the living room with ease. Seeing that I hadn't moved or spoken, she leaned in again and asked, Aren't you happy to see me? I pulled hard on the leash, but Bruce simply refused to follow me. I nodded and poured her another glass of wine. She raised her glass and clinked it with mine, and we exchanged a knowing smile. So, you really have a Garfield? I asked her, half drunk and half awake. Garfield is a person, she giggled. Did he disappear? Jessica's wine glass shattered on the floor with a clang, and my vision instantly blurred. In my daze, I saw my mother walk in, she scooped me up while shouting something, then moved toward Jessica. After that, everything went black. My mother saved me. The stomach pumping left me utterly drained. Jessica wasn't so fortunate. Her eyes stayed wide open in death. This investigation went deeper than expected, and surprisingly reeled in a big fish. It turns out Ethan and Jessica had known each other all along. They were partners in swindling wealthy families out of their fortunes, and had been quite successful until they crossed paths with me. This time, Ethan wanted out. Cold-blooded as he was, he planned for both Jessica and me to die together, never imagining he'd end up doing me a favor instead. I reorganized the property holdings, took some losses, but fortunately Ethan's assets helped cover the gap. In the end, I didn't just break even. I came out slightly ahead. Mom and I moved to a new place to start fresh. I think it's time for me to quit this game too.